What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to YGOPD, your Yu-Gi-Oh! Professional Development. And today I have something really cool I've been working on that I'm really excited to show you. This is a pure Rika control variant. I've wanted to take advantage and play a pure version for a while. I think the Sun Avalon deck has a lot of bricks in it that might not be that great. And I just wanted to try something unique. And I found something that I think is really cool and is a bit unfair. So I'll want to go through and show that. But I am now back in town and I must do a big shout out to all my new public subs since then. Gimme, Tanbeer, Milton, Andres, Matt, ST, Rogue, Czar, Spitfire, Rundy, Ant, Nick, Angel, and Sloan. Thank you all so much for joining. I am really excited to have you all here. I am very thankful that you have subscribed. If you are interested and enjoy the content, please feel free to drop a like, subscribe. It really does help the channel. It does help the algorithm. We have hit 700. That's really amazing. My goal is to really get over 1,000 throughout 2023. So if you like what I do and want to share it with someone, please do that. But with all that said, we'll go ahead and take some time and hop right into the main deck. Okay, hopping into the main deck here, we're going to start off with the monsters. This is going to be very different. Again, this is a pure Rika variant. This is going to look a little bit different compared to what you're used to. The focus is the Rika engine and essentially using Con, the field spell, as your main way to clear your opponent's board or keep a simplified game state, and that's the goal of this deck. So we start off with 3 Lone Fire. It's really nice. It's a great plant name. It's literally any plant name, literally the best card for plants that have still ever been printed to this date. A close second is definitely Rikka Petal. We play 3 of these. This is a 1-card starter. This gets you a Mudon and then eventually gets you into Con and then either into Glamour or Sheet and just lets your plays go. The fact that this comes back every end phase for free is just absolutely insane. And then, of course, we play triple Princess. Princess is absolutely insane. Having a free negate and a free special summon just because as a common was really good for the deck and for any plant deck. A little bit more Rika focused, of course, but just does so much on her own. And we pair 2 Primula with that specifically. You can play 1, but again, because we're in the pure Rika build, we want to guarantee that Glamour resolves once no matter what for its full effect. If we open 1, and if we don't, then we can guarantee that it resolves twice to be able to search 2 different level 4s. So there's that. And then we play 2 Mudon. You could ultimately bump this up to 3 if you want in the pure version. I think I might as well. The only problem is you just need a plant on board to special summon it, and it's quite searchable through most of your combo. So it's not necessarily needed, but definitely not a bad 3 of if you are in preference for that. But that's it for the monsters. Again, primarily just Rika based. And then moving on to the spells. We start off with 3 of this field spell, one of the most crazy cards ever printed. It's like Layer of Darkness on steroids. You contribute your opponent's monsters for cost in order to activate your Rika effects. That means that it will not trigger any tier elements because you're tributing for cost. Of course, there are some Rikas that do tribute for effect, so you just have to be careful. But most of the time, you're going to be tributing for cost and allows you to set any Rika spell or trap from your deck, including either Glamour or Sheet. Which, speaking of Glamour, this is the main rota for the deck. Of course, it's either an add 1 or tribute a plant monster to add 2. You're typically searching either Petal or Mudon if you're getting just 1 card, potentially Princess. Or if you're searching for 2, then you're going to get Princess and the Primula. Really powerful card there. And then just the 1 Sheet. You can bump this up, but because you need a plant on board, specifically a Rika, to basically have this work, it's a little... And then the 1 Sheet, pretty straightforward. It's quite searchable and recurable both from the graveyard through a card like Strenna, both Glamour and Sheet, by the way. But 1 is really all you need. So that's it pretty much for the entire Rika / plant engine, which is the other nice thing about this deck is it's close to a 20-20 split. Again, I like those kinds of decks where you have a lot of engine focus and then some room to play with. So for this one, we do play 3 Pot of Prosperity. Again, we are not doing the Sun Avalon build, so it's not like every single card in the extra deck is a valued spot. So Pot of Prosperity is just a really solid card in this deck to make sure that you get exactly what you need when you're searching. And then to pair along with that to make sure we can keep playing is 2 Tactics and 1 Called By. Those are kind of our 6 consistency pieces there. The rest of the entire deck in this 40 cards is either hand traps or more floodgates. That's kind of the focus that this deck has taken, and it can take very unique advantage of it. So starting off with the hand traps, 3 of the best hand trap in the game, and the most generic one, of course, is 3 Ash Blossom in Joyous Spring. And then to pair with that, we have triple Infinite Impermanence. And then after that, we have 2 Ghost Bell. This is kind of my hand trap lineup of choice. This is pretty much the most well-rounded piece when dealing with cards like Kit, any of the tier names, Sprite. This really kind of just is really checking most of all the boxes. You can adjust this however you want. If you're more focused on your plays resolving, you could switch these out for cards like either Gamma or Crossout. Or if your goal is to really maintain that simplified game state, you can do something like a Droplet and Cherries, Winter Cherries, since you have a lot of flex spots in the extra deck as well. It's really however you want to take it. I picked these because I think these are quite budget friendly, and Rika has definitely calmed down in price since the initial hype. But this is kind of where you can take it whatever you want. These are slots that you can fill however you would like to. So the last 3 cards of the deck are your 6 primary floodgates. I have 3 rivalry in here. Of course, nowadays, and especially looking forward into the next format in a couple of weeks with Photon Hypernova, Gozen Match is going to be the king of floodgates if you are not on Kashtira, just because every single monster in that archetype is a different attribute. I believe Unicorn's a wind, Fenrir's an earth, Shangri-La I think is like a fire. They're all different kinds of attributes. So that'll be the go-to floodgate, but you can use whatever you want here in terms of your floodgates. But I would recommend Gozen moving forward. And then the last card that makes this deck possible is 3 Skill Drain. Hold up before you leave, because I know exactly what you're thinking is you're not going to get your Rika effects, but you don't necessarily need to, just because all of your stuff can still tribute for cost and still has the legal right to activate their effects. And with Con you can still tribute your opponent's cards. So you're basically getting rid of their cards for cost so they will not trigger, as well as having Skill Drain on the board, and you can still activate your own effects, getting rid of their stuff regardless of the fact that they trigger or not. You have the ability to clear your opponent's board and they can't do anything about it. That's the really cool part about Skill Drain. And you still have cards like Petal coming back at every end phase. You have cards like Rikka Princess that can activate and trigger from the graveyard. You recur stuff like Sheet and Glamour. This deck really plays around Skill Drain, and it's just a really, really neat interaction that I've become quite a big fan of. So that is the main deck, a clean 40 cards. We'll go ahead and showcase the extra deck. The first part I'm just going to showcase are strictly flex spots. You can do these however you want. I have an access code, one of the ugliest Nightmare Unicorns you will ever see on the planet, and then 1 Nightmare Cerberus and 1 Nightmare Phoenix. These can be whatever. I highly recommend maybe going more the Cherries route, since you have these slots to play with. These aren't really going to come up because most of the time you will end up locking yourself into Plant. So they can really be whatever you want. The same vein is 1 Link Karibo and 1 Anima. They pair with Petal, but again is not really needed. So I show this to say that you have at least 6 flex spots to really dictate whatever you want with the deck. So you have some freedom there to play with that. You could even, if you want, take the route for Dogmatic of Punishment, put some punishment targets in there, however you want to do that. But for the actual meat and potatoes of what the actual extra deck looks like for the Rika and the Plant side is 1 Bangle Answer, just an incredible Link 4, absolutely amazing. 2 Jasmine. This, you could take out one of these Jasmine, put something else in. 2 is fine. It doesn't really come up. Again, you're not really linking with this deck. You just want the tools to be there should you need them. Same thing with Dance Peon. This is probably the one you make the absolute most in here, is if you're in a tight spot and need to find an additional name. This really helps. And then, of course, since we are still tributing Strenna away, and Strenna can use her effect in the graveyard, we need 3 big targets to make that possible. So these are the 3 that you're going to typically see: Hyperton, Rikka Queen, and Sylvain, the High Protector. All of these are really, really solid targets to pair with that Rika Strenna. This card allows you to recur both your Glamour and your Sheet back from grave, and this is also a way you can still kind of play around Skill Drain a little bit too if you really wanted to detach, add something back, chain Sheet, tribute her off, get her effect, get the effect resolved. So there's a lot of different room that you can play with this, but this is a really, really cool take on Rika. I've become a pretty big fan of it, and it's really, really nice, and it will actually be a little bit better, I think, when Photon Hypernova hopefully slows down the format just a touch, and tier maybe gets put in check a little bit. And then I'm just going to showcase the side. You have the freedom to kind of really do whatever. I've focused the side deck on being cards that simplify the game state, so that way you can use your Rika strategy to help then get and maintain that game state once you've created it. So 3 Dark Ruler No More and 3 evenly matched are our going second cards of choice. Again, creating a simplified game state and then, capitalizing on that is really where you want to focus. And then a cool thing about Rika, right, is you have the ability to play different types of degenerate floodgates. They can be whatever you want, but these are the ones I've been focusing on for the going first. Obviously, non-fusion area is a specific nod to tier. Similarly, Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, of course, that's a bit of a nod to sprite as well, depending on the build. But, nevertheless, and then just a generic card here is anti-spell. Again, if you want, you could put Gozen in the main and cut the anti-spells and put a card like Rivalry or some other floodgate of your choice in the side deck as well. So that is it for the main, the extra, and the side. I hope you all like this. I hope you all enjoyed it. I have a lot planned coming up here now that we've hit 700 and we're on the road to 1K. Is really, really exciting. Got some really cool stuff planned. I am going to revisit the Tri-Brigade Lyralist deck next week with a full deck analysis, combo guide, all that good stuff that I typically do. But with all that said, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Later.